a gift. You knew he wanted to kill himself, but you didn't really know why. Like they talked about, the killing, Johnny, the killing, my name, that haunts me. I dream about it. And Johnny said something about like, well, that's why you got the medal. Okay, so Van Damme killed people and he got a medal for it. So immediately you think, is it Army? Is it some sort of military service with Black Ops? Like, what was it? And you never get to the point of it. Mm-hmm. And just, the one thing that turns him from, I got to end it, I got nothing to live for, is all of a sudden I got to get my bike back. I got to deliver my bike to my buddy.
He goes out there to ask permission to kill himself. But then
they never really touched on that either. Yeah, he wanted permission from Six Toes to end himself. And that could have been a great, even if they just took 5 minutes to touch on it. But instead they did, Danny Trejo's, serenade and pedicure service, the patch up and pedicure service, where he just sang him songs about whiskey and women and rubbed his little tootsies.
While he drank tequila.
While he drank tequila.
Women. And then later on when JCVD sings it to him. Okay, if you think about Shane, right? A violent man goes to a family and violence happens, right? You get this intersection of violence where violence happens. This maybe is a movie that I could see where John G. Avildsen does this film because, gosh, why does he do this film? Well, I know it's not good.
That is the question, isn't it? After Rocky and after Karate Kid, I mean, maybe you need a palate cleanser. Maybe you just want to do what you want to do. I mean, I don't know. The mystery will never be solved, I guess.
I mean, Save the Tiger, which won Academy Awards. So he did Save the Tiger. Jack Lemmon won an Academy Award for it, acting. Mm-hmm. Then he went and did The Karate Kid. He did Rocky. He did Karate Kid Part 2, Karate Kid Part 3, Rocky 5. And then he worked steadily, right? This was his, so he did 73, 75, 75, 76, 78, 80, 81, 82, 83, 83, 84, 86, 87, 88, 89, 89, 90, 92, 94. And then he went and did, 8 Seconds, kind of didn't do too well. So he kind of had a little bit of break. He did A Fine and Private Place. The last movie, this man who won an Academy Award for director for Rocky did, and he's passed away. And I watched, so there's nothing. This was his last film.
Yeah.
And he took his name off it because I think he wanted to make a Shane, where a suicidal man goes back and he finds redemption stopping biker gangs in this town. Right? He wanted to do that. But then it has this comedic tone, which, I mean, the music, I mean, what is happening? He had a guy named Bill Conti did this score. Bill Conti did The Right Stuff, right? Bill Conti did Rocky. Bill Conti did Rocky. That score. I mean, this is a 3-time Oscar-nominated guy. Then the cinematographer, I just want to say it, Ross A. Mal, this was his last movie too, as a cinematographer. So this movie wrecks.
They just really wanted to get the band back together. That was the whole thing. That was the reason that
this movie wrecked some careers, my friend. This one was a career wrecker. And it's a very odd film. And I feel really bad because JCVD was the producer. So I feel bad for this guy because he was probably looking for a hit. JCVD was looking for a hit. And then this was made.
Well, and I had read somewhere too that it didn't even get a theatrical release because of you mentioned Double Team earlier and some of his other movies that had come out. Universal Soldier, The Return, that they just did so poorly that they were just like, we're not gonna do a theatrical release on this. And then the reason that Avildsen took his name off of it and showed up as Danny Mulroon instead is because I saw that he felt like his work was tampered with so much. So was it JCVD? Was it someone else who was trying to change his tone? Because the only other piece that I found as far as kind of info on it is at the very end when when Dottie goes to meet up with the bus driver and he's going to ask her out on a date, and the thing that he says is, I'm really into samurai movies, which is just way off the wall for being in the desert. And Yo Jimbo, which they wanted this movie to be remade and based off of. So yeah, the same thing, kind of the suicidal man finding redemption, all that stuff. If that's what they set out to make, who decided, no, we're doing this, and adding things like, hey, can't we all just get along? And little just weird little quips, in there that really just don't fit. And they wanted it to be this just I mean, I don't know. There's so many lines in this that are just kind of take you out of it and go, huh? Why did they say that?
I bet he gets so so much.
Yeah, I bet he gets so much money. And then when the girls were saved and they're trying to like decide what they're gonna go do to thank him, they're like, oh, Eddie, he just has really kind eyes. They're so gentle, and they're like, oh yeah, you're right. And they're gonna have that nice moment, and they snap out and say, I wonder if he's circumcised. And it was just like that. What? Where did this come from? Which I'm sure they probably don't mention in Yojimbo. I mean, I haven't seen it in quite a while, so I'll have to go back and rewatch and see if they're talking about those procedures. But yeah, it's just, I mean, now granted, a lot of the bits in it were hilarious. I laughed incredibly hard. You had the woman that ran the inn.
Oh my gosh.
That was the Bible thumper and had the big boa constrictor and had the snakes and everything. And she goes through during the big double team moment where the girls are thanking Eddie Lomax, and she stumbles across it in the window and just watches and starts slamming her cough syrup or her tequila or whatever she had in that bottle, and is just having a good time. And said, what did she say? She's like, oh, he's bringing joy to everyone. And it's just like, oh my goodness. Like, it was funny. I found it hilarious. I laughed my butt off. Yeah, with the tone that they were going for, maybe not the best place to insert things like that.
I was starving for anything to read about this movie. There's nothing out there. There really isn't. I know Action Elite or someone interviewed Trejo, and Trejo said his character was originally just a ghost spirit. So they changed that. I do think that I went and watched John G. Avildsen, King of the Underdogs. It's a documentary. It's for free on Pluto right now.
Oh, cool.
They don't even touch on this. And they talk about how
Why would they?
They talk about how hard he was to work for, because he so he was very loyal to the script. The actors liked him. I mean, he did Karate Kid 1 through 3. He did Rocky like 1 and 5. If Sly hated him, if the studios hated him, they wouldn't hire this guy, right? He was just very by the book. Let's get it done. Inflexible. I'm telling you, and the name of this documentary is King of the Underdogs. So Karate Kid, underdog. Rocky, underdog. Never once is JCVD an underdog in this movie. I think they went in with the script. This is my theory. They went in with the script. Scorsese talks about him. Burt Reynolds talks about him in this documentary. Like, oh wow. Yeah, I mean, huge like names talking about him. They went in with the script, and I think JCVD was a producer. I think John G. didn't have the power he did during Rocky and Karate Kid days. They went in with this script, and it went from a loner loser who finds a town and finds redemption in the town. It went from that to just like, it's just very just JCVD wiping people out, being able to go all night with two women. He's wearing them out. They can't even sleep. Like, where does he get the energy? He's being complimented.
He's going for a bike ride.
Yeah. Everywhere he goes, he's complimented. People fall in love with him immediately. Never once do people give him trouble. It's the very beginning I love so much because Johnny, where are you, Johnny? Oh, Johnny. And he gets beat, like he's walking around with his gun all silly, and the Hogans get the upper hand on him. After that, game over. I mean, I really think this movie was changed by, there's no proof of this, but everything, if I had to infer something, it just seems like it was JCVD's pushing his producer muscle.
It's interesting because like in all of his movies, like talking about underdogs and everything else, and him like being this invincible dude, like every movie that you think of, whether it's, the big ones, you can talk about Bloodsport, you can talk about Kickboxer, you can talk about Universal Soldier, like he gets his ass beat a lot. Like he's never just like coming in and like wiping things out. He's always like there's that ebb and flow, and he's got to learn to harness the warrior within or whatever. And there's that kind of same thing. And one thing that I was surprised about is a lot of the movies too has like some tragedy with his family. He's got to find his family. He's got to fight to get his family back. His family was killed. His brother was paralyzed. Like all this, it kind of has to do with that. This one, there's nothing.
Nothing.
And so maybe he was just sick of like getting into that same feel, and just wanted to like I just want to show up and kill everybody and save the town and everyone love me. That's all I want. Movie, perhaps, and I know my JCVD is on point, so whoever says otherwise Johnny is a huge liar. Johnny. But yeah, it was it was interesting that like up until the last 4 minutes when he had the, I guess what you could call a fight with the main Hogan, where he actually took a couple of hits, like he really didn't get scathed at all.
No.
Which I mean, it was fun to watch. It just kind of shows, and it kind of rolls into the comedy aspect of it. He just like shows up and kills people willy nilly, and no one cares. Like, these guys are bad dudes, but no one has like the, oh my god, dead body. Everyone's just like, oh, they've died now. You've killed them. Oh, wonderful. Like, just the reactions on this is what made it so funny for me.
You're right.
And just little things like what was it, just the unrealistic aspect of some of these things, like near the end when he booby trapped the bungalow with the oxygen tank, where they're just like, oh, we pulled the thing and the pin came off of it, and I think it was even wrapped in saran wrap. So Pat Morita, Mr. Early's character, probably confused it with a body. But right before it went off, there are a conservative estimate, 18 bikers, like members of the biker gang in Hogan's, that are just like fully armed, fully automatic weapons, and they're like, light it up, and they just go to town with, well, let's say, okay, let's do math. You like math. We would do this. 18 people. Let's say each gun holds, I don't know, 20 bullets. 18 times 20 is 360. 360 bullets go into this bungalow. And there's this very large oxygen tank. You're telling me not one bullet hits that thing and sets it off prematurely? Like, things like that I just kind of said afterwards and whispered to my wife, and I was like, you think that would have gone off beforehand?
Oh, that's bonkers.
But I mean, almost with any JCVD movie, there is that like disbelief that you have to just, again, roll with it, especially with a movie like this that has just like such ridiculous moments. But again, it adds to the fun. If you take it too seriously and you keep questioning it and wonder about like the backstories or why Trejo's foot rubbing, like you're not going to enjoy it as much if you just go into it and take it for what it is and know it's going to be ridiculous, which I think you and I both knew right off the bat, that this was just going to be a bonkers ride, that you can, get the most enjoyment out of it.
The opening, when hey Johnny, I'm like, oh, this is on a different level right here. And as
soon as he started like throwing, like shooting and like sticking his tongue out and like, I was like, oh man, he must have like watched like Face Off or something like lately. He's like, I like this Nick Cage guy. He's got something that I may want to emulate. But hey, that's Johnny. The first thing I thought of is like, he's going full Cage.
Oh, I just gotta say, I love what you said. I just want to go back to this real quick. In Bloodsport, he's on the run, right? He goes rogue to go fight at this tournament. In Kickboxer's brother is injured. He's the underdog going into this fight against Tong Pao. Nowhere to run. He's an escaped convict who ends up on farmland owned by a widow, and he has to fight contractors. But he's an escaped convict. In Universal Soldier, he's an escaped Universal Soldier who's gone good, and he's being chased. It's really interesting that you said that, because no one's chasing him in this movie.
Not at all. No, they were chasing him at the beginning because they caught a descending bullet, and they took his bike, but that was it. I mean, if Petey would have connected with those shots at the very beginning, like, this movie wouldn't have been a movie. But yeah, like he could have just ended it there and been like, okay, I wanted to kill myself. Here it is. I still have no reason to live other than now I need this bike. Like, if you had the bike, if that's your reason for keeping it going, like, you had your reason already, but you still wanted to end it.
Yeah, but I want to give it to Johnny.
Oh, I need to give it to Johnny, and I needed his permission, and I can't get his permission unless I give him a gift. It's a tit for tat. I give him a gift, he gives me permission, I blow my brains. I mean, who knows?
I make him offer, he can't refuse. Hey, Johnny, can I kill myself? No.
I will miss his singing and his foot rubs, so I will miss that in the afterlife. Man, Johnny can rub a bunion like no one's business.
Imagine this scene. Hey, Johnny, can I kill myself? No. Hey, Johnny, if I give you my bike, can I kill myself? Yes.
Oh, I guess so.
Johnny.
It's got to be transactional, man.
Oh, man.
It's got to be transactional.
Oh, all right, so how about this? Let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll talk more about Desert Heat, Full Moon. Wait.
Coyote Moon.
Coyote Moon.
At this point,
Inferno.
We can just make up our. You know what? Let's end it at the break. Let's make up our own titles for this movie.
Yeah. When we come back, we'll each pick 3 titles and to add a new one onto it.
3 titles and an intro. In a world where Van Damme did a horrible movie.
All right. So we'll be right back, and we'll come up with new titles and a new intro. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks, and In a World where a suicidal man's motorcycle is stolen by a roguish band of motorcycle bandits. He must rally himself to defeat them easily and vigorously, but not before a foot rub. I never thought I'd ever see Danny Trejo foot rub JCVD, but now I have.
And you're the better for it.
All right. Here's my first title for this movie. Hey Johnny. But you can't just say hey Johnny.
You gotta say it as.
Hey Johnny. That's my first title.
Okay. All right, this one just came to me, and I love it. So I'm gonna if I were to pitch this movie, it would be fully based around Mr. Early's character because that was my favorite part. So I would say that the title of this movie would be Never Too Early.